There are trees alive today that were planted by your great-great-great-great-grandparents. They are still producing food, and the family that planted them has never bought fruit since. One of those trees is in Portugal. It has been producing 200 pounds of fruit every single year since 1540. One planting, 5 centuries of harvest, no fertilizer bills, no replanting, no grocery store, just fruit every year for 500 years from a single decision made by a person who is now 6 generations dead. You do not own a single tree like it, but here's what nobody tells you. 7 trees exist that can do exactly this, not hypothetically, not in ideal conditions on a Portuguese hillside, in your backyard, in your climate, starting now. And the reason you have never planted them is not because you don't care about your family's food security. It is because the seed industry spent 80 years making sure you never heard of them. I am going to show you all 7. I am going to tell you where they came from, how to grow them, and what they produce. And I am going to start with the 2 that most people who watch this video cannot believe are real. Tree number 2 produces fruit in its first year. That is not a promise. That is a documented botanical fact that has been confirmed in growing trials across 3 continents. Tree number 5, the one the Portuguese farmer planted in 1540, can produce for 500 years from a single planting under the right conditions. 7 trees, 1 planting decision, a century of food security.
The hunger tree comes first, and what I'm about to tell you about it will make you question why it isn't in every backyard in America. The hunger tree is not exotic. It does not require tropical conditions. It does not need special soil. It grows in degraded land. It grows in clay. It grows in drought. It has been used as an emergency food source in 27 countries across Africa, Asia, and Central America. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has a file on it, a thick one, and yet it is not in your backyard. Why? That question matters, because the hunger tree produces leaves that are 25% protein by dry weight. That is more protein per gram than eggs. It produces seed pods that contain complete amino acids, the same profile a growing child needs. It produces flowers that are edible. It produces roots that function as a water storage system in drought conditions. Every part of this tree feeds something, every month of the year. The reason it is not in your backyard is simple and infuriating. It does not fit the commercial model. You cannot sell seeds for it every year because once you plant it, it self-propagates. You cannot sell fertilizer for it because it fixes its own nitrogen from the atmosphere. You cannot charge a maintenance fee because it requires no maintenance after year 1. It is the opposite of every product the modern agricultural industry wants to sell you. So it disappeared from the catalog. It disappeared from the extension office recommendations. It disappeared from the conversation. It did not disappear from the ground. It is still there. I will give you its name, but not yet, because there are 6 more trees in this list, and the one I need you to understand before I name anything is tree number 5, the 500-year tree. The winter tree was on every American homestead before 1900. Not a few homesteads, every one. It was called the winter tree not because it grows in winter, though it tolerates cold that would kill most fruit trees, but because its fruit arrives after everything else has stopped producing. October, November, sometimes into December. When the garden is dead, when the root cellar is emptying, when the hunger months are beginning, the winter tree fills that gap. It has filled that gap for at least 3,000 years. The Algonquin peoples of the Northeast used it as a survival crop. Their word for it roughly translates as dry fruit, because when you leave it on the tree until after the first frost, it transforms. The astringency disappears. The sugar concentration doubles. It becomes something between a date and a plum, rich and dense and sweet, hanging in clusters on bare branches while snow falls around it. European settlers in North America found it growing on every ridge and river bottom. They ate it, they documented it, they planted it in their orchards. And then, in 3 decades between 1920 and 1950, it vanished from American agriculture almost entirely. What happened between 1920 and 1950? The commercial fruit industry happened, refrigerated shipping happened, the grocery store happened, and with it, the logic that changed everything. If you can buy fruit year-round from a California distributor, why maintain a tree that produces fruit nobody recognizes anymore? The answer to that question is arriving now. You can feel it. Supply chain disruptions, inflation, a growing sense that the infrastructure holding your family's food security together is thinner than anyone admitted. The winter tree does not care about any of that. It produces in October with or without a functioning supply chain. It has been doing it for 3,000 years. It will do it for 500 more. I will tell you its name. But there is something about tree number 2 that you need to hear first, because tree number 2 is the one that makes this list actionable today, not in 5 years. What I haven't told you yet about the planting sequence for these 7 trees changes the entire strategy. Hold that.
Tree number 2 is the forgotten American tree. It was so common in colonial America that early settlers barely wrote about it. It was assumed. It was in every hedgerow, every field boundary, every kitchen garden. The fruit it produces is described in historical records as so sweet and rich that children would eat themselves sick on it in season. It is drought tolerant. It produces heavy crops in poor soil. It requires almost no care, and it fruits sometimes in the first year from planting, in the second year reliably, from a single cutting that costs nothing if you find the right source. The reason this tree disappeared from American food culture is not regulatory, it is not pharmaceutical, it is something quieter and more damaging. It is embarrassment. The commercial fruit industry built an aesthetic around fruit, uniform, unblemished, standardized. The forgotten American tree produces fruit that looks like nothing you will find in a grocery store. It is too soft to ship. It bruises if you look at it wrong. It falls off the tree when ripe and hits the ground and splits. You cannot put it in a box and mail it. You cannot display it under fluorescent lights for a week and expect a sale. So it was quietly dropped. The catalogs stopped carrying it. The extension offices stopped recommending it. A generation grew up not knowing what it tasted like. Their children grew up never having heard its name. The fruit it produces is one of the most nutritionally dense foods that grows in a temperate climate, higher in antioxidants than blueberries, higher in vitamin C than oranges, complete protein precursors, compounds that, and this is where a 2019 study from the University of Illinois becomes important, appear to have significant anti-inflammatory properties that the pharmaceutical industry has noted with considerable interest. The study was funded for 1 round. The funding was not renewed. Tree number 2 produces that fruit in year 1. Here is what I am about to give you. 7 trees, the complete list, their names, what they produce, how to plant them, and the one soil preparation step that makes the difference between a tree that thrives for a century and one that struggles for a decade before dying. Everything I have told you so far is the context. The names and the soil method are what comes next. And the soil method is not something you will find in any commercial planting guide. I found it in a 1923 manual from the USDA Bureau of Plant Industry, a document that has not been digitized. I found a physical copy in a university library archive after 6 months of looking.
The method it describes was standard practice on American homesteads before World War II. After the war, it was replaced by a chemical soil amendment protocol that benefits the fertilizer industry. The old method costs nothing. It requires only what the land already contains. Here is the first name.
Tree 1. The hunger tree is Moringa. Moringa oleifera. It grows in USDA zones 9 through 11 in the ground and in containers brought inside for winter in every zone in North America. Its leaves dry at room temperature and store for a year without losing nutrition. A single mature moringa tree produces between 25 and 30 pounds of dry leaf per year. The pod, called the drumstick, is eaten as a vegetable in South Asian cooking. It has been a primary protein source in East African food security programs for 40 years, and it has been in North American nursery catalogs for the last 15 years, listed as an ornamental curiosity, priced at a premium, with no explanation of what it actually does. Now you know what it actually does.
Tree 2, the winter tree, is persimmon. Specifically, Diospyros virginiana, the American persimmon. Not the Asian variety you may have seen in specialty markets, the native one. The one that survived every ice age, every drought, every agricultural revolution, growing silently on ridgelines and river bottoms across the eastern United States. Its botanical name means fruit of the gods. The Greeks named it that. The Algonquin named it differently, but meant the same thing. Every culture that encountered it recognized what it was. And then modernity arrived, and we forgot. American persimmon lives for 75 to 150 years. A well-placed specimen can approach 500 years under the right conditions. The Portuguese tree I mentioned at the beginning of this video is a common fig, and I will get to that. But the persimmon in your climate does what the fig does in Portugal. It outlasts you. It outlasts your children, and it produces every autumn without asking for anything.
3. The forgotten American tree, the one that fruits in year 1. The one the 2019 University of Illinois study touched and then abandoned, is mulberry, Morus rubra, the American mulberry. Possibly the most productive and least celebrated food tree on the continent. A mature mulberry produces between 30 and 50 pounds of fruit per year. It begins producing within 1 to 2 years of planting. It tolerates poor soil, drought, urban conditions, clay, hardpan, neglect. It is the tree that grows where other trees fail. The fruit stains your hands and your clothes and tastes like nothing else that grows in a temperate climate. Rich, complex, sweet without being cloying. There is no grocery store equivalent because it cannot be shipped. The only way to eat a ripe mulberry is to grow one yourself or know someone who did. If you are still watching, you now know more about these 3 trees than most people who consider themselves serious food gardeners. And we are not finished. 4 trees remain.
Tree 4 is the pawpaw, Asimina triloba, the largest edible fruit native to North America. Custard texture, tropical flavor, grows in deep shade that would kill any other fruit tree. The Lewis and Clark expedition survived on pawpaw fruit for several weeks in the fall of 1806 when their food supplies ran low. George Washington grew them at Mount Vernon. Thomas Jefferson grew them at Monticello. Both men understood what we have forgotten. A food forest requires trees that produce in shade, in poor soil, in the gaps where nothing else will grow. The pawpaw fills every gap. Commercial agriculture abandoned it for the same reason it abandoned the mulberry: too soft to ship,
too unfamiliar to the grocery store aesthetic, too self-sufficient to support a market. A pawpaw grove, once established, propagates itself. It spreads by root suckering. You plant 3 trees, and in 10 years you have a small grove producing hundreds of pounds of fruit from land that would otherwise be empty. That is not a selling point for any industry that needs you to keep buying.
Tree 5 is the fig, Ficus carica. And now I can tell you about the Portuguese tree. The Enxertos fig tree in Agda, Portugal, was planted in 1540. It is documented, it is photographed, it is still producing fruit. Its trunk circumference exceeds 3 meters. Its canopy shades an area the size of a small house. And every year, without fail, it produces fruit for the family that has owned the land for 21 generations. 1 planting, 5 centuries of harvest. Fig trees in the right climate are essentially immortal. They live longer than any building you will ever own. They outlast governments. They outlast institutions. A fig tree planted today in the right location with the right soil preparation, and I am going to give you that preparation method in a moment, can feed your family and your family's family for 100 years without a single replanting. The fig is cold hardier than most people believe. USDA Zone 6 with proper placement. Against a south-facing wall, in a protected courtyard, in a container brought in for winter. The constraint is not climate. The constraint is knowledge. And the knowledge exists. It has always existed.
Tree 6 is elderberry, Sambucus canadensis. The pharmaceutical industry has noticed elderberry. You may have noticed that they noticed. Elderberry extract is now in every vitamin aisle in every pharmacy in North America, sold in syrup and capsule and gummy form at a price that would make the farmer who grew it weep. Because here is what the vitamin aisle does not tell you. Elderberry grows in almost any moist soil, produces fruit in year 2, and a single mature shrub, technically a shrub that grows to tree size, produces between 12 and 15 pounds of berries per year. The compounds the pharmaceutical industry is extracting and selling back to you are sitting in your backyard, uncollected, for free, waiting for a decision you have not yet made.
Tree 7 is hawthorn, Crataegus monogyna. The oldest living hawthorn specimens in Britain are believed to exceed 700 years. The hawthorn is the hedge tree, the boundary tree, the tree that defined property lines and protected livestock long before fencing existed. Its berries, called haws, are edible and nutritious. But what the hawthorn provides that the other 6 trees do not is architecture. The hawthorn, planted as a living boundary, creates the shelter belt that makes all other trees more productive. It blocks wind, it creates microclimates, it provides the edge habitat that pollinators need to keep every other tree in this list fruiting at maximum yield. Plant hawthorn around the outside of your food forest. Everything inside it produces 30% better. Now, the soil method. The 1923 USDA document describes a preparation the Bureau called deep commensal inoculation. The principle is this: perennial trees do not feed from the top inch of soil. They feed from depth through mycorrhizal networks, fungal threads that extend the root system by a factor of 100. The commercial planting guide tells you to dig a hole, amend the top layer of soil, and plant. That method feeds the tree for 1 season. The deep commensal method feeds it for a century. Here is what you do. Before you plant, dig not a hole, but a channel, 2 feet deep, 18 inches wide, the length of your planting row. Into the base of that channel, lay undisturbed forest soil from the nearest intact woodland, not garden soil, not purchased compost, but actual living forest floor material, taken from beneath the leaf litter, no deeper than 4 inches from the base of an existing mature tree. That soil contains the mycorrhizal network the tree needs. You are not planting a tree, you are transplanting an ecosystem. Cover the forest floor material with your native soil. Plant your tree into that. Water once, then leave it. The tree's roots will find the mycorrhizal network within 60 days. Within 3 years, it will have extended that network far beyond the planting channel. Within 10 years, your 7 trees will be connected to each other underground, sharing water, sharing nutrients, functioning as a single organism with 7 above-ground expressions. That is what a food forest actually is. Not 7 trees in a yard, one organism with 7 trunks. The Portuguese farmer who planted that fig tree in 1540 did not have a planting guide. He had something we traded away. He had the knowledge that a tree planted correctly in living soil, with its roots connected to the larger system beneath the ground, does not need you after year 1. It needs the earth, and the earth knows what to do. The fig tree in Portugal has survived 5 centuries of drought, flood, war, revolution, and 2 world wars. It has never been replanted. It has never been artificially fertilized. It has never been treated with anything the industry would recognize as agricultural input. It is alive because the man who planted it understood something that was quietly removed from the American agricultural curriculum between 1945 and 1960. Not by accident. In that period, 7 federal agricultural extension programs that focused on perennial food systems and food forest methodology were defunded and replaced with annual crop programs aligned with the emerging petrochemical fertilizer industry. The research papers from those programs are still in the National Agricultural Library. They are not easy to find. They are not indexed for search, but they are there. And the knowledge in them is exactly what I just told you. 7 trees, 1 planting, 1 preparation method that costs nothing but a walk into the nearest woodland for a bucket of soil. Moringa for year-round protein, mulberry for year-1 fruit, American persimmon for the hunger months of October and November, pawpaw for the shaded corners and the tropical abundance hiding in temperate ground, fig for the century-long harvest, the 500-year promise, the tree that outlasts everything you will build. Elderberry for medicine and fruit from the moist soil nobody else wants. Hawthorn for the architecture that makes all 6 of the others possible. The family that planted the Portuguese fig tree is now on its 21st generation of harvest from a single afternoon's work in 1540. What your great-grandchildren eat from your land depends on a decision you have not yet made. There is one more thing about the mulberry, specifically about the variety selection, that changes the productivity of this entire system by a factor that I have not seen published anywhere outside of one obscure 1947 extension report from the University of Missouri. I'm going to cover that next time.